It has to be.
I'm kind of in. If there was six of us,
kind of down. If there was 6 people,
there was 6 of us, this would be the ideal situation.
I would probably, if I could. So no, the other way. Hang on. So it looks more like I'm sat. Oh no, I've gone too far. So
yeah,
just
like go push the camera away.
Yeah, if I just go back a bit and then that way. Oh yeah! It looks like I'm actually in this room. So can we?
Oh fuck! Luke, coming at you.
Coming up a big one. Oh.
Hey.
I might leave this in.
I'll change it.
Okay. I actually might leave it in. Right.
All right. We're in now. Let's go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fourth Sector. The boys are back in town. The boys haven't been in town for a while. We're going to just do a very quick, brief explanation about that. And by we, I mean me. We have a system where Joe uploads the podcast. I edit them.
Luke just sits there looking pretty.
I'm just here to entertain. That's it.
That you do, mate. That you do. So yeah, basically, Silverstone, we didn't have any Wi-Fi, so I edited the Silverstone preview, but we wasn't able to upload it because we had no Wi-Fi. Then we recorded the Silverstone review. I didn't edit it, just didn't do it, and then here we are. The Austrian Grand Prix review and halfway into the season. But if you are a listener on Spotify, I would like to say we are going to upload all of those to our YouTube. So if you want to catch up, if you are someone that really can't miss...
Just really wants to spend an extra 2 hours.
Can't miss a second of the Fourth Sector, then you can catch up with it on YouTube. However, we are going to, as it's the halfway point of the season, we're going to kind of hit the reset button and try and get back in our consistency.
And should we address how bad our predictions were?
We all picked a max double, right?
I picked a max double. I think, did you go for it as well?
All three of us.
That was a big max double all the way through. So, wow.
But it was Austria.
But we did technically get a max double because he got a pole when he won the sprint race.
I'm going to take it. I would take it.
Straws.
As much as I'm wearing my Ferrari t-shirt today, and I'm very happy that Charles Leclerc actually won a race for the first time in 2 months, 3 months.
Since Australia, dude.
Oh.
How long ago was Australia, mate?
At least a week ago.
Mate.
I'm still sticking to the fact that he's not made mistakes though. It's just been Ferrari or his car. Absolutely.
No, it has been a shit show. And of course there was a shit show in the race.
Almost a double shit show as well.
Almost a double shit show. Carlos Sainz was on fire. Thank goodness he's okay, so we can smile about it. But yeah, Carlos, another Ferrari power unit has gone. And I think I've been doing some research. I think they need to stop making them out of polystyrene. I've worked it out. They've clearly got an issue there because it's lightweight. It's a lightweight material, but it can't finish races, so it's no use. But yeah, fucking hell, man. They need to really sort that out, like, soon. Because Charles, I don't know. This was a weekend I think everyone kind of expected Red Bull to dominate, right? Did anyone?
100%, yeah.
Did anyone not think that?
No.
Not anyone that I've spoken to.
And it was kind of like, holy shit, yeah, Ferrari are good. They are quick. They're just really bad at making a reliable car, apparently, this year.
Or good strategy. That's also the issue.
Yeah.
I literally, when they decided to just pit Charles again, I was just like, wow, they are absolutely swinging their dicks now, because I mean, they just didn't really need to, did they? I mean, obviously it turns out in the end that they did, but like,
yeah,
maybe they were just covering it, but like, blimey.
They just win. I think to be honest, they just won on any strategy. And there was an air of confidence about Charles Leclerc after the sprint on Saturday, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. Which seemed misplaced almost.
Yeah, it was kind of like, dude, I'm going to keep it real with you here. Might want to wind it in a bit, buddy. I think you just got a bit smoked, but...
Because he was just like, no, it's fine. We're fast. We'll beat him tomorrow. And
yeah,
he did.
Because they did start to catch up towards the end of the sprint race. it didn't seem like this tyre degradation thing that Max suffered with so badly on Sunday was that dramatic on Saturday. Is that based on the fact that the track went from wet to dry on Sunday? Or I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but it was strange to see such a
He just kept saying he was losing front grip from lap to lap, like it would come in and out constantly. So, I mean, is that something to do with wind on the track? You know, people were...
Yeah.
The Mercedes were both sent off by wind, weren't they? On the Friday?
Yeah, on Friday, yeah. Allegedly, yeah. I mean, obviously there's got to be other elements to it, I'm sure. But, you know, that... I mean, it didn't ruin Mercedes weekend, but that looked like at the time like it was going to be very detrimental for it. So a little gust of wind. But yeah, it was strange because I did see that. It was Max on the team radio, right? He said like 1 minute I have like full grip, but then the next minute.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. There's some factor that we don't really understand or know about that was causing that issue. So yeah, weird one.
But yeah, so as we do in the full sector, we're going to very loosely sort of go through the weekend in order. Kind of like Ted does on his notebook, but less in the paddock and more in our houses, and probably not as funny, which is a shame because we are funny, but Ted is too funny. Guys, seriously, if you're listening to this, just watch the notebook, please. Everyone watch the notebook. It's so good.
Do your homework.
Do your fucking homework. But yeah, so obviously, I guess we start on qualifying on Friday. For me, the big talking point is the team, the shirt I'm wearing today, Mercedes, who...
It's a nice shirt, Cal. Where'd you get it?
I bought it at Silverstone as it goes. Yeah, Silverstone Formula One Grand Prix that I went to and Joe went to.
When did you go there?
I think it was like last
never mentioned it.
week, dude. I don't know. My memory's a bit hazy. But of course,
all those fuels at the Silverstone Grand Prix.
all the beers.
All the beer.
The many beers that were consumed. And of course, you can hear all about that on YouTube in the Silverstone recap episode. But we didn't talk too much about our antics because we would not be allowed to post it. But back on track, Mercedes looked... So we thought Silverstone suited them. So we thought, I assume as a collective, we expected the performance we saw in Silverstone from Merck.
Yeah.
But then we come to Austria where they've, even with a good car, traditionally struggled a little bit more recently. Mm-hmm. I think it was one win out of the last 4 or 5 for Mercedes, which in this era is obviously actually a bit surprising. So I think we thought they would struggle, and these upgrades, kind of like Barcelona when they were really good in Barcelona, and then was it Monaco straight after Barcelona? And they were fucking horrible. So I think we're all in the same boat, assuming that Mercedes came in super competitive, even in Q1 and Q2. I think Q2, Lewis had the fastest time right up until the end, where I think a couple of people knocked him off by a 10th. So Mercedes in with a big shot at pole, and Lewis drove into the wall.
He did a bit.
Yeah. So that was a shame. Obviously, I was very upset about that. There were many people that were happy about it, including certain people in the crowd. Red flag. Then they're like, right, let's get back out there. We've still got George in the mix, and then
he binned it and all.
So yeah. All in all, the Mercedes probably compromised another weekend where an unlikely potential win was on the cards, to be honest with you.
Well, I think you can definitely say that, because after both of their performances actually in the sprint race, and then, obviously we know now that there was a DNF from Red Bull and a DNF from Ferrari. They obviously still kind of maximize the points.
Yeah, I mean, if you offer...
maybe the Ferrari was still going to beat them anyway, but if you're starting in front of them, then you can dictate the strategy, right? So they did. I think they probably maximized the points from the weekend, but you don't know what could have happened if they did start ahead of Max or Charles, right?
Yeah. So because the only argument that you can make for it, I think, is that apparently Mercedes, whilst they've got all these new parts, they don't have excess of them. I don't know if this is a cost efficiency thing. So George, whose crash was slightly different to Lewis's, had to run the old rear wing instead of the new one. so he had more drag, so he wasn't as fast down the straights. So it does think that if you look at the car performance on that Friday compared to the Sunday for both of them, I would probably say because of the crashes, they maximized the potential.
Yeah.
But without the crashes, maybe they didn't. But France is coming up next, so
yeah, I think they go around France well. I'm not gonna lie.
I think they go around France well. So I do still think we are seeing a resurgence from Mercedes. You just cast your mind back to Imola when Lewis Hamilton spent an entire race in 14th place, barely couldn't get past Pierre Gasly or Esteban Ocon.
It's a different team, isn't it?
Yeah, and George Russell, who just beat Valtteri Bottas to P5 or P4.
The one thing I will say, which I think is being overlooked, is I'm not sure about Red Bull, but Ferrari are focusing now on next year's car.
Do you think?
So they've said it.
Okay, yeah.
I think that they're probably very realistic and not wrong in saying that this year's World Drivers' Championship and the Constructors.
It's nothing to do with that. Ferrari came out and said their goal this year was to compete. It was never to. If they won, if they win, it would have been great. But it was just to compete. They've achieved that. They've been competing. So their focus now is having the best car they can have next year. I'd imagine Red Bull are going to do the same. I think they've kind of realized that as long as reliability doesn't, kind of get worse, they should have the season wrapped up.
Yeah,
so I would agree. Yeah,
I think both teams are going to be looking at next year. So although we're seeing this gap being, drawn closer between the likes of Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes, I wouldn't look into it too much because I think Mercedes are spending a lot of time playing catch up, and Ferrari and Red Bull are very much not even worried about this year.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean. It's going to be an interesting complex because I think that a lot of people will agree with me that due to last year's exploits, that Red Bull and Mercedes could find themselves lacking. It would depend on how much they want to develop the car. And as you rightly point out, Luke, I actually think, funnily enough, Red Bull started developing that car for this year bit sooner than Merck, because how good did Merck randomly get towards the back end of last season? And I don't know if that was a Hail Mary, let's get number 8, get Lewis out and we'll start again. I don't know, but they developed that car way later into the season and obviously caught Red Bull at the end of the day. They were miles quicker in Abu Dhabi. So it could, like you say, it could be just a case of Merck are going to catch up this year. But I guess if you were Merck, you're not winning it this year. We're exactly halfway through the season, and Lewis Hamilton is 99 points off the top of the championship. I would like to say I've got fairly good knowledge of Formula One, but I can't imagine a swing of that many points as ever.
They're also 66 points behind Ferrari in the Constructors. So
now I think that's doable.
Because of how often Ferrari don't finish races.
Yeah, 66 points is doable.
I think
but it's like it's also 122 points off Red Bull. So
yeah,
they're not competing for the drivers or the constructors.
But if they got second, like if Lewis can beat, what's Sainz on? Sainz is on 120 odd points.
Sainz is on 130 and Lewis is on 109.
If he can get Sainz and Mercedes finish higher than Ferrari in constructors, I think that's a good season, given the start.
George is just 5 points behind Sainz. 133 for Sainz, 128 for George Russell. And
LeClerc's on 170.
Yeah.
I think Hamilton will finish higher than George.
The way the last few races have gone, obviously 3 podiums in a row, but it's a pendulum, isn't it?
And we were constantly talking at the beginning of the season how lucky George was getting and how unlucky Lewis was getting, right? We've mentioned that 4 or 5 times already this season.
I would mention that as much as I could. Like that's just how it will go. I will mention
but it wasn't like we weren't lying. Like it genuinely did seem that the cards were sort of accidentally falling one way by no fault of Lewis's and, by, I guess, just luck and hope from George, which you can't discount. Like he still obviously made the right decisions in his head, right?
And I will say that I think Lewis has settled in as well. It's a mixture because, as we say, there was some bad luck. But I think that even the weekends where there was no bad luck, George it felt like he had a couple of tenths on him in qualifying, whilst Lewis now has obviously started to level out that fight as well. And the big thing was, at the end of the day, Lewis was getting in these positions, like having to double stack second in the stack and things like that because he wasn't qualifying well enough. So, yeah. I know I've got my Mercedes shirt on. I've just started this podcast off talking about Mercedes. You know, I can't help myself. But so that was Friday. Obviously, there's plenty more Merc chat to be had. And then we're moving on to Saturday's sprint race. Anyone feeling any better about like the sprint race? Because I've kind of, I was the one out of the three of us that said I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't anymore.
Okay, I didn't hate it this time. I'll be real. I think and it's exactly what you said. I think this was this back end of last season? We were talking about this as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh no. Again, as someone that works from home on a Friday, I love a little Friday quali. Actually, I do. But when the sprint race is won so resoundingly, it is a bit boring. But overall, the rest of the sprint race was actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it has its elements. As we say, this year they've put the points up. Last year, when there was 3 points for a win,
it was the top 3, and now it's the top 8, right?
Yeah, now it's the top 8. 8 points for a win. 8 points is a big enough swing. So obviously, if you win a race and someone comes second, that's 7 points. Disregarding fastest lap. So that 8 point swing is actually like that feels like it's worth something.
Makes your weekend worth a bit more, yeah.
Yeah, and of course Max has still walked away with 26 points this weekend because he won that, and Charles Leclerc has walked away with 32. Did he get fastest lap as well? 33 maybe. So
I don't think he did get fastest lap actually. I think Max got it in the end.
Someone got it. That was a bad statement.
I think Max got it, but I'll tell you.
But yeah, so like the sprint race,
Max did get it in the end.
Max did get it. Okay, so Max walked away with 27 points for the weekend, and Charles come away with 32. So it's only even. It's only a 5 point difference. And that's what that winning that sprint race can do. But yeah, the only thing I found with it is, and this is from the point of view of someone that is a passionate supporter of a driver over I find that a sprint race is great when your driver crashes on Friday qualifying because he can sort it out. But a sprint race is really shit if you're, I suppose it didn't happen this weekend, but let's say you're a massive Max fan. Luke, you've done well to not react there at all. Let's just say you're a massive Max fan. Max locks out pole position after topping every session in qualifying and the practice. Turn 1, fucking Carlos Sainz locks up, or Charles Leclerc looks up, fucking T-bones him, and he has to start from the back on the Sunday. And you think, what is the point in this sprint race? Because that's where it's like...
It's also a lot more testing on the car, obviously, as well. Like,
yeah,
you're in Parc Fermé from Friday, right?
I don't know. I see it from both sides because it's great entertainment. But I just think that it can undo so much good work.
I still don't want it more than 2 or 3 races a season. I think
as
much as I thought as a spectacle, again, I moaned about it before. I think this was the back end of last season. I moaned about it. And I do think that as a spectacle, I did genuinely enjoy it. There was a point where Mick was fighting with like 3 other cars for that last place in the sprint, that last points place of 8th. And I think, did Lewis get it in the end?
Lewis got 8th, yeah.
Yeah. So that was like, it was a really, it's one of those things that, even on a double header was really, really interesting, really exciting. But I think if it happens, surely they're not trying to make it the new normal, are they?
No, and they can't.
But then, like, who cares? Like, who cares then if it's just every now and then? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's also weird. Like, if you're not, you're not a consistent fan and you join one week and you think, well, I've missed qualifying because it was on the Friday. Like, it's a hard thing if you're kind of just coming into the sport to keep up with, that it changes just every week.
I know what you mean, because I was in the office for qualifying. And that
big boy with big boy job.
That sucked, because I don't think my boss will watch this, but I've been told off for going on my phone too much, boys. And I then couldn't watch qualifying. And all I wanted to do is watch qualifying. So I sat there in a huff. And yeah, I don't know if you're a bit more of a casual, like you say, or you're new to the sport, because I reckon a lot of people watched Silverstone last weekend and thought, fuck me, that was wicked, I'm going to watch it again this week. And then they missed qualifying and they're like, oh, well, I'm done now.
I get both sides of it. I get that point of it, but I also understand the idea of trying to get more people into the other sessions. So I think, if you're working for, the Red Bull Ring or whatever, like, Red Bull, obviously, I don't know if it's Red Bull, but someone obviously benefits massively from, extra tickets. Not that they need them because it's, Max Central, but the extra ticket sales, there's a little bit of extra jeopardy around the weekend. I'm a little bit more iffy on it now. Like, it's kind of, that's fun. And again, it was a spectacle. It was a good race. It was a good sprint race, actually. So yeah, I don't know. I understand your qualms with the, putting the extra jeopardy on it means that it's stressful. But then you only have to factor it in 2 or 3 times. Is it 3 times now?
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah,
3 times a season.
I don't know. Like, I'm playing devil's advocate a bit, because
on your own opinion.
Yeah, on my own opinion. So it is a bit of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Because as you say, if you're, particularly a young fan as well, I'm talking from the perspective of a geezer in his 20s who's got a desk job, but they're looking at a young audience that they've brought in through Netflix. They ain't got no desk job.
They're also probably
Friday,
at school for Friday, to be fair.
Yeah, but they're probably home by 4 o'clock, right?
Well, I don't know what time it started. Was it 4?
4, yeah.
You're right then.
So, I mean, yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But either way, sprint race was actually a lot of fun. Verstappen won. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz had a great battle, actually, which Leclerc ended up sort of clearing off with in the end. But
it did mean that he had no chance of winning the sprint race at all, though.
It did. And that gap did start coming down towards the end. And maybe not only Red Bull, but us as fans and as observers should have maybe heeded the warning that Ferrari started to get better in the long run pace. And maybe that's why Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, no, actually, you're right. You're right, actually, because Max seemed to storm off. And then, as you said, the gap, once Leclerc had some clean air when he wasn't battling Sainz, it did actually start to close up.
So I don't know if you knew this, but in the end, the gap was only 1.6 at the line.
Yeah,
and it was more. It was more than that. So
I don't think Max was pushing by the end of it. I think they were in a save the car state more than likely.
Also,
because when you've got a 4-second gap with 4 laps to go or whatever, it's a 4-second gap, and you kind of can manage the race from there.
Yeah,
especially on a shorter run. By the time it came to the Sunday, it was a much different story, obviously. And there was absolutely no answer to Ferrari.
No, man. And I loved this race weekend, I've got to say. It was a shame for Fernando. Obviously, he didn't get to start the sprint race, did he? Did you see? It just never got to start. And then they tried to get it to work from the pit lane, couldn't get it to work. So
yeah, and then was it Zhou as well, Zhou Guanyu, whose car died on the way to the grid.
Yep.
They had to do that extra formation lap, which I don't think really mattered to anyone else. But then, yeah, it was kind of a bit of a nightmare, wasn't it? The beginning of that sprint.
That was a bit all over the place. But yeah, other than that, nothing,
I think one thing about Fernando's start that everyone seems to think was the case was that they just forgot to take the jacks off the car. And there was an issue and they didn't have enough time to fix it. But I think everyone thought that they just
left it on. Yeah.
I was on Twitter and I was just like, oh no, everyone thinks they genuinely just forgot to take the tire blankets and the jacks off the car. Like, no, they're a Formula One team. They're a well-oiled machine. There was an issue that they couldn't fix. But he He ended up giving it a right go and giving Yuki Tsunoda some beans, didn't he?
Yeah, it was some good stuff, to be fair. And I think that on the note of Alpine, by the way, I think they've got such a tidy car this year, and it's gone under the radar. You know, obviously it will because
it looks so shit.
Because it looks fucking so bad. But pace-wise, they've really, you know, they're getting just better and better. And their issue, of course, this year has been, unfortunately, you know, a bit of unreliability with Fernando Alonso on 29 points, Esteban Ocon on 52.
Fernando's taken a new engine every 2 races.
Fernando's already taken like his allowance of engines. And
he's taken like 5.
Yeah.
He's done it, and he's had penalties twice.
Canada, he started P2. I think he finished P9 in a race where he could have finished a lot higher. But Esteban Ocon obviously came 6th in the sprint alone, and I think he came 5th in the race.
He did. He was the last driver to finish the lead lap.
Good man. Just about as well. Wow. So that Alpine is a tidy car, and I'm going to stick my neck out and say they're going to beat McLaren this year for the 4th spot in the championship.
I'd agree with that.
They are tied with them now, and McLaren. Oh, okay. So what I will say about that is that I don't think Ocon's finishing above Norris.
No.
So we're kind of relying on Fernando Alonso and his so far terrible luck finishing above Ricciardo.
But
that's where I'm kind of 50-50 on that. 50-50.
I can see, again, it is a true 50-50 battle because it does yo-yo from race to race. But I think that Alpine are more consistent scorers. But it's just, I think that when McLaren don't have bad moments, they're going to be the ones that maybe will finish there. So, I'm going to say it. I think Alpine are going to finish P4 in the championship this year. And if I'm honest, I really hope that they develop a car next year that's, you know,
that's the plan, isn't it? They wanted 4 or 5 seasons to start being competitive.
I think it was.
Well, this was supposed to be the year, but if it's next year,
I'm honestly fine with that, and I would love to see. And I think this maybe is what he's holding out for, but he might be optimistic. Maybe Fernando is just holding out for one final go. Like proper go, because obviously he's had a lot of goes, but
a top 4
like a championship battle, like just I think he just wants to have one more proper go. Obviously, like the McLaren Honda years, I think he would rather really forget about those.
But okay, again, I love a bit of devil's advocate. Why would Alonso actually finish above Ocon next year if the car's there?
Oh, I'm not saying he would, but I'm saying that's why I think he, at the age of 41 or
41 now,
is not letting. He's staying.
I want Piastri in a fucking seat.
I think a lot of us want to, and I think. I can't really speak for the nation there because I don't know a single person that's from there, but I think Australia wants someone new to support as well, if I'm honest.
Oh yeah.
Because it's got to be.
He's the reserve driver for fucking every team on the grid at this point, isn't he? So I think it's 5 teams. I think it's half the grid. He's the reserve driver at the minute. So any seat will do, right? As long as we get to see him chuck a lap around. We
will get to see him in practice sessions this season. I don't know which car he'll be in. I guess an Alpine.
He's been out, isn't it? Hasn't he been out?
Isn't he doing one in France?
I think he's been out this year already.
I think it would,
France would be kind of cool considering it's Alpine time race.
Yeah, I think it maybe just chuck him out in FP1 or something
I'm very excited to see him, and I don't want to see Fernando go for obvious reasons. Like, he's a legend.
Yeah, but I think we're getting there. We are getting there.
But like you say, if they've got the car next year and, they can promise him podiums, I don't know, like
competitiveness. Yeah. Because I think, well, to be fair, this year he's got competitiveness, but he's got unreliability / bad luck. Obviously, he'll get a great start and
the car just falls away.
Carbon fiber will just fall into like the exhaust pipe, and then in his car, it's just really because you wouldn't believe watching him, that's a guy that's on 29 points in the championship, 7 points ahead of Magnussen, and 17 points behind Valtteri Bottas. You just wouldn't think that. Also, fair play Valtteri Bottas once again, although that's a car that seems to be on the decline.
Plagued that car, isn't it?
Yes. A car that is definitely looking to be on the decline. Great to see Zhou Guanyu Zhou racing this weekend, by the way. Very great to see him back in the car already. And kind of, I know it's what they do, but Geezer's got balls of steel for getting straight back into a car, because I think, like, if I watch a video of a ride having a malfunction at Alton Towers, I won't get on that ride ever again.
Oh yeah, I'm not going on the Smiler.
No, I'm literally not. I'm actually not. I'm not joking.
Yeah. I'm dead. I'm dead serious as well.
No, I think it makes it more exciting.
Well, yeah, that's where
that's what Zhou Guanyu's thinking, obviously. Was it Johnny Herbert that was saying? Was it Johnny Herbert that interviewed him?
No idea.
It could have been Johnny that interviewed him and saying, after a crash like that, I felt like I had more guts to get in the car. It could have been Johnny. It might
You've
not.
got
have
to
been
get
Johnny.
in the car sooner rather than later.
It's true, yeah. He
No, he was going to be back in it because he had no injuries. He was going to be back in it.
No, but you say that he could easily have taken a week to be like, I'm just like,
oh, no one would have blamed him. You're right.
No. And I think, wasn't it Lauda that kind of said the same? People kind of said that he came back too early, but he was like, no, I needed to come back sooner rather than later, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have come back at all.
Yeah.
Probably paraphrasing
and had a championship battle after he came back.
Yeah.
2 in a row, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I see what you mean. But yeah, great to see him back. But yeah, the car certainly, when you look at the fact that Valtteri Bottas has got 46 points, you wouldn't think that car is as uncompetitive as it is at the moment. But teams have been making upgrades left, right, and centre. All you have to look is a topic that I think we're going to spend a long time talking about, which is Haas.
No upgrades, just vibes.
Just Günther Steiner and vibes.
Just vibes. They're just coasting on vibes, man.
And here's the craziness of the Haas turnaround, is that 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, we were in Canada and they qualified. Am I right in saying 5 and 6 or 6 and 7?
Yeah, they were up there.
And they came DNF and last running driver.
Yeah, poor Magnussen. That looked awful, didn't it?
Fast forward 2 weeks to Silverstone, they qualify P19 and P17. They finish P8 and P10.
Double points.
Fast forward a week. Fucking P6 and P8.
Double points.
Are they going to finish 4th and 6th next week? I don't know.
I hope so.
Do they just keep going up? What is
Are we gonna see Schumacher win his first race in the same season he gets his first points? Do you know what I mean?
Haas the best team on the grid now? This is what happened? Title charge? Is this what's going on? I love it. Why are they so likable? We know why Mick
and Kevin are so likable, and Günther could sell anything if you slap him on the front of it.
Well, he nearly made me buy a love swing single-handedly. I would have put the boat on the balcony. Exactly. He can sell anything with his face on it.
Carl, would you be mad if I got you, like, you get the life size
cutouts
of
right.
Günther?
No, not even a little bit. No,
right.
Not even a little bit.
Good to know.
Birthday's in a month, by the way.
Hey, you're getting 2.
Oh God, yeah.
Imagine Günther Steiner in a Barry Benson costume as a car.
Oh, we're going B movie with it, huh?
Okay, right. Well, that's
moving on.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's our thing. That's our thing. So it's a really, for me, it's a welcome resurgence, and I don't think it's an unwelcome resurgence for everyone. A team that had just no hope for the last couple of years.
Well, after by the way, after good beginning of the season as well, with Magnussen in the points.
But I mean,
for like 3 races in a row, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously,
and then out of the points for like 4 or 5. And then back in them.
But a team that also had no hope over the last couple of years. But the good thing about this year, obviously the top 2 were clear, which we didn't like. But you've got to say, anyone else on that grid on their day can score a point. And I like that. That is so good.
Everyone else very much has as well, by the way. Like,
finally.
Everyone else very much has.
Other than Latifi, but...
No. We're talking teams. We're talking teams. Albon has scored points at more than 1 race.
Yes. Albon has got 3 points, I believe. So...
that was 2 separate races.
Yes, it was. He got 1 in Australia and 2... where did he get his other 2 points? Can anyone remember? I'll give one sexual favor to whoever can remember. Can I say that? Can I say that on the podcast? I'm gonna leave it in.
I put explicit on the Spotify anyway.
Cool. I'll leave it in.
Outraged. Genuinely outraged.
Why can't I remember?
When did Albon score his other? His other 2?
It was Australia, and then he come 9th somewhere, right?
Obviously.
Well, yeah.
He got 1 point in Australia. And he got 2 points somewhere else.
Cheers, everyone. Formula 1 expert over here. Cheers, everyone.
Where did he get his other points? There we go.
Let's just go backwards.
Miami. He got 2 in Miami.
Right. Cool. So, yeah. I do really like that aspect about this year because we are halfway through the season. So, like, whilst we're talking about yesterday's race and how good it was, I'm enjoying reflecting on where we're at because we spent 3 or 4 podcasts speculating, and it's just cool to really. I think now we have a good grasp of where Formula One's going.
I think we were miles off as well, by the way.
Oh, I mean, I still get it wrong every week. So
I genuinely don't think we saw any of this coming. I think when you look at the constructor standings now,
no, we saw Red Bull being competitive. I don't think we saw Ferrari.
We didn't know with Ferrari because they had that good test, but we were told that Ferrari
don't believe the test.
Yeah, we were told don't believe the test. Ferrari have brought their actual car. We were told Mercedes and Red Bull haven't brought their actual car.
They just brought nothing.
They were
running. They were running around the track.
Just wheels. They just had wheels and a steering wheel.
Wheels and Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz.
We were told McLaren were good.
Yeah. We were told Alpine were really bad.
Yeah.
We were told that Alfa Romeo in the mini sectors were really good, which just kind of leveled out.
But they were terrible in turns.
Yeah.
Cornering, they were terrible.
We were told Aston Martin were okay. They were really bad at the start of the season.
Sorry, did we ever see Haas? Even go back to the beginning of the season when Kevin Magnussen did score some points.
No, that was not.
Were we ever under the impression that they were going to be P7 in the constructors halfway through the season?
I don't know this, but I would be pretty confident that you could probably find quite a horrible quote from me about Haas this year. I reckon
that was probably pre-Mazepin sack.
Yeah, I think like pre-season, if you was to dig, I don't know, but there's probably a very high chance that I've said some very derogatory things about how Haas.
And I've just been talking about how much I love Mick Schumacher the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Sorry, did you see Mick when he found out that he was driver of the day?
Mate, that put a smile on the heart.
It put the smile on the world, mate. It was just great.
So, he's such a likable guy.
That's great. I thought I'd get it last week, but
it was either. I think it was pre-Austria where someone finally said to Seb on camera. Mick said, "Seb, my dad was to Seb what Seb is to me."
Yeah.
And someone finally said it to him on camera.
Yeah.
And he was like genuine. You know, it was a really nice moment, and I think that relationship. You know, everyone sort of freaked out about the crash. It was never going to be a big deal, was it? But wow, what a lovely, lovely relationship. And, you know,
it's quite harmonious this year, isn't it?
It's really good. And again, everyone has said, by the way, Hamilton is absolutely class when he's not winning because he's not that smug anymore. I actually don't mind Max being a little bit. He's not.
No, he's quite. He's a little bit
dick, is he?
He's a little bit funny, actually.
Yeah, he's quite funny.
Because he's just a bit weird.
Norris is massively self-deprecating, which is the only humour I know anyway.
What is it? What did you lack this weekend? Speed, pace, and grip, or something like that?
But you know what? Netflix are probably fucking so unhappy this year. There's no major drama. Even between
just salute with major drama, sorry.
Major drama. Yeah.
Even between Max and Leclerc, like it's fairly.
Yeah, it's been good.
But they're mates as well, though. Like,
yeah.
which Netflix probably, as you say, probably hates.
I think someone.
Can you imagine how much shit's gonna be taken out of context now because they can't find anything?
They can't find anything genuine. Yeah.
Well, I saw someone say that that Ricardo throwing the space hopper at Lando, they're gonna put like some dramatic music over.
No,
it.
They're not.
Will Buxton commentating.
And these two.
There are moments in sport.
And this was the turning point. And it's just like, and they'll play it like in slow-mo.
And then it turns to Lando and he's just red with rage. He's got smoke billowing out his ears like a pirate in SpongeBob.
They start bringing like CGI into it because they've just got nothing to do.
Then you've got the Yuki and Gasly relationship. Did you see the video where the Lad Bible, Sport Bibles kind of agree to disagree with Perez and Verstappen, and they're just the best of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything they agree on.
Russell and Hamilton have obviously been at each other for the beginning of the season, but now they're kind of like leveling out and everything's fine. They're like best mates. Like there is nothing you can even moan about.
Yeah, like it's so harmonious. Like Lewis, he obviously is great. Like I think there's that interview that was going around from Fernando around a year or a year and a half ago, where it was on a Spanish TV station, and they asked him, and he said that Lewis didn't talk to anyone. I don't know if you remember that at all, but if you didn't, that was a video that went around, and he's just like on a Spanish TV show around Christmas, and it's probably some special over there that they did to get Fernando Alonso on, and they're sort of sitting around drinking wine and eating, and they ask him about Lewis Hamilton. He's like, I don't know, he doesn't talk to anyone. Like he just like isolates himself. And I think,
do you think that was taken a little bit out of context?
Probably was, because I don't speak Spanish. I was reading subtitles.
And also Fernando notoriously doesn't really like him that much.
Yeah, he does kind of.
He's not really the bloke to ask, is he?
No, so I think there will be like funny elements about it.
In Lewis's defense, it's not that. I think the idea that he doesn't talk to people is because he has so much fucking going on. Like he finishes the race, probably jets off to like some fashion show.
A fashion show in New York, yeah.
Yeah, then he's done that. Then he's going to do some whatever shit elsewhere. Where a lot of other people, like if you look at the likes of like Lando or whatever, have the race and go home.
Yeah, I mean, like
he's
Bottas
always
and Leclerc are back in Monaco immediately.
Yeah. Although, like Lewis is always off doing something. So in his defense, I think he probably doesn't.
Well, there was also that one where Lewis was asked if him and Max were friends, and he was just like, I don't really know the guy. And everyone was just like, everyone else is friends. Why aren't you friends? He's like, well, he probably doesn't really know the guy.
But also, there's a gap now, right? Like you've got the likes of Alonso, Lewis, and Seb. And there's a massive, technically Bottas, but then you've got a massive like age.
Ricardo's in that Bottas group, right? He's the same age as
Bottas.
Bottas.
But he's also a bit more of a joker, and I think he kind of fits in with the younger. But like,
well, he's also best mates with Max, obviously as well.
So you've got that drop off, and then you've got all the younger drivers. So I don't think
that are all like actually mates.
Yeah, they all kind of came through together, didn't they?
Well, a lot of them have raced together for
since like 8.
Yeah. A lot of them have raced together concurrently for a lot.
Leclerc and Verstappen.
It was just an incident. It was just an incident.
Just an incident.
An incident in the race. But I was meaning to ask you, gentlemen, and I'm so glad you've reminded me.
The answer is no.
Did you see how Lewis Hamilton departed the Austrian track this week?
What are you talking about on a plane with Valtteri Bottas and Toto Wolff and Susie Wolff and Roscoe?
Yeah.
Wait, what's this?
So they
I think they left on Toto's plane, didn't they?
Yeah. So Valtteri and his missus, is it Auntie?
The cyclist.
Yeah. Valtteri and his missus and one of his mates. Lewis and Roscoe.
And the dog.
And Lewis and Roscoe, Susie and Toto.
And Jack.
And Jack all took the plane home together.
And everyone made out this whole like Bottas has been shunned. Like, no, he's still always like hanging out with them. And like George obviously wasn't even invited. Like, Bottas and Lewis are chilling on the plane.
Valtteri's probably been switching off a few Ferrari engines. He's got his hands on them now, so it's fine.
Also, by the way, I don't know if we mentioned Roscoe Cam.
Roscoe
He
Cam
loved it.
Yeah, it's great.
That was some of the best content I've ever seen.
So, Ted, as you've seen, has interviewed a dog on the Notebook this week.
Whose dog was that?
It was a random man's dog.
It was just like a random dog that was just being carried awkwardly, wasn't it?
You do not get this in any other sport, do you?
No.
What's the highlight of the weekend? Oh, fucking Ted interviewed a dog.
Roscoe Cam,
or Ted asking a dog if it enjoyed the race, and
or Ted running down an up escalator.
Yeah.
Did you see as well?
Or Ted doing a shoey in the crowd.
I think it was actually Martin Brundle. His cameraman walked straight across.
Oh yeah, John.
You can't.
No, it was Ted. He did.
Was it Ted?
Kick up. Yeah, he kicked off on the Notebook.
Yeah. And do you know what's funny about that? That was that Friday's Notebook?
It was the Quali Notebook. Yeah. So Friday.
Ian was the cameraman yesterday. So John.
Not John.
So,
I
think
John's got disciplinary.
John got the sack, mate. I can't believe it. No, I don't know. Maybe they just switch, but yeah.
I reckon they switch because they are big fuck off cameras.
It was probably just a matter of days, but yeah, John was not doing yesterday's Notebook. So as we're at the halfway point, obviously, I think we've more or less covered Austria. Was there anything else in Austria that you can think of? I can't think of anything else. There was probably so much more, but I
didn't like the Perez-Russell crash.
The track limits. Right, carry on.
Track limits and black and white flags all over the shop. You messaged us on Sunday morning. Was it Sunday morning?
So I was
Sunday morning about the
F2.
I
watched F3 and F2, and they were giving them out like flyers, mate. They were just dishing them out left, right, and centre. And there was even Roberto Merri. He started 21st on the grid. And just as he made this overtake to go into P2, and they were saying how remarkable, brilliant drive he'd done, came up on the screen, penalty for car number. I'm sorry that I don't remember Roberto Merri's number, but I'm going to guess 48. Car number 48 or whatever.
It wasn't 48.
Well, that was worth a guess, wasn't it? It was between 1 and 99.
I'm joking.
Roberto Merri ended up taking a penalty, got 5 seconds, ended up coming 5th. And he was one of like 10 or 11 drivers on that grid that got a penalty for track limits.
Do you reckon they were being harsh just to set that line for Formula One? Being like, look, we're not afraid to dish out penalties to half the grid. If you want to overstep the line, be prepared to get a 5-second grid penalty or penalty.
The official statement from the FIA is, we did nothing different or nothing extra. We applied them as we've applied them all year. It's just a particular track where they've been pushed more than anywhere else. And I understand because in turn 10, with the mud guards, they've been calling them, the little flaps over the tyres, it's very hard for the driver to actually see if they're over the line or not. And that's, you heard a lot of them on the radio saying, I didn't even cross the line. I don't know, why have I got this warning? The one I didn't understand that they were giving out a lot is they kept giving track limits at turn 1 for people going wide. But statistically, drivers were losing between half a second and a second via that track limits because there's a sausage curb there now, which, by the way, sausage curbs need to get the fuck out. So I thought, and I think Lando said this in his interview, why was I getting warning for losing time at turn 1? But fair enough, in turn 10, I couldn't really see where I was going. It was hard to see. So, yeah, the track limits thing, that was getting thrown about a lot. Thought it was a bit harsh. Many drivers have spoken out about it being harsh, but the FIA claim all they've done is enforce it exactly the same and as consistently as the drivers have requested.
Can't do it retrospectively, though, can you, about Perez?
No, but I thought that, Russell, back on what you said, you were gone, so I thought I'd rabble about the track limits whilst you were gone.
Yeah.
The Russell penalty, do you think that was fair, that penalty?
As you said, I think it sounded like everyone thought it was nailed on.
Yeah, but I didn't.
It did just look like he had understeer. And Perez, I think they were right in saying that Perez had the corner. But
what is
I
George
think that's a
Richardson
racing incident.
do? Yeah,
because he had understeer. You saw it.
he's full. He's
He's literally, like you say, he's full lock.
Yeah.
And the car's just not going all the way around because it's the start of the race. I think a racing incident would have been fine.
I
But
also think
Perez obviously was massively hindered and didn't finish the race because of it, which sometimes happens during racing incidents. I get that, but I think it looked more like a racing incident than causing a collision.
I just felt like there was more room on the outside than there was on the inside, if anything. So, it was just unlucky. It was just like, you know that George didn't
finish fourth anyway. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and he took his penalty and he came fourth. So, yeah, that was a shame. And
took his penalty and changed his front wing.
Yeah, that just shows like not only George's resilience, but the gulf between the fourth best car to the third, and then the third to the second and first, because of course Mercedes, Lewis, who dispatched of Ocon very easily after that. Another slow stop from Mercedes, by the way, but I can't talk about Mercedes anymore without making this just a Mercedes podcast. So I was worried when he was behind an Alpine, though, I'll tell you that. But yeah, so that was I mean,
a lot of passes though, a lot of easy passes as well, and it did seem very, very easy to pass.
But it was super fun.
No, 100%.
Dude, did you see when there was 5 cars all going through turn 3? That was so sick. And any of them could have got ahead. It was all about like who was going to get the grippiest line and the best.
At one point, who was it? Was it? I think it might have been Ocon. Was it Ocon? It could have been Ocon. That did like a triple overtake in one corner.
It was K-Mag.
Was it Magnussen?
It was K-Mag. Yeah, it was K-Mag.
And then Mick was just in front of him, and he would have been battling. Oh,
so
I can't even tell.
K-Mag got Alonso and Zhou in turn 1 because they were battling. He just slipped up the inside, and then Norris came through, and then Norris, I think, ended up getting K-Mag at turn 3, and there was just 5 cars just all together.
It was class.
It was like a parade lap. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Man,
but then relatively incident free. I know we've had 3 DNFs. One of them was just an explosion. I don't know what happened to Latifi or really care. But then obviously Perez picked up a little bit of damage.
He picked up debris.
It
wasn't even.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't even from a crash. He picked up debris. He said
just random debris on the track.
Yeah, literally. I think he's probably like he's got a vacuum for it, hasn't he? He reported on the radio, this car will not go into turn 9, and they retired him because of safety issues, because they felt that the car may at some point just not turn.
I did like them boxing Vettel on lap 70 when he was finishing the race on lap 70. Yes. Did you see that? He was like, box, we've got to retire the car. And like, he was on the way to the line.
And
what so I think he finished the race in the pit lane.
Well, I mean,
they tried to box him at the end of the race. And like, I think he just finished the race in the pit lane.
He did get classified, and
that's why he must have finished it in the pit lane, right?
Well, so he finished 15th via the pit lane. But then because he got a penalty, Yeah, he got
that for track
limits after the race. So he went from P15 to P17. If you haven't seen it, he found out in his interview with Sky Sports. So go and give that a watch after this, because Seb, who's been a much more cheerful character recently, of recent years, the last couple of years, he was not fucking happy at all. So maybe we've missed something, but I just wanted to note that the Austrian Grand Prix, there was 67 overtakes plus 19 in the sprint, which together totals the most overtakes for the weekend. But as a singular, 67 is the second most amount. Bahrain with 76. First race of the season.
That's a lot.
Overtakes.
That's a lot.
It is a fucking lot, dude.
It doesn't seem like that kind of track either. Like Austria seemed like, the perfect place to pass almost, didn't it? But Bahrain doesn't seem like that as much.
Didn't, because it was a great race, but I didn't watch it like, wow, overtake central. But yeah, clearly it was 76 compared to a lowly 12 in Monaco, of course, which is notoriously the toughest place to overtake. But yeah, I just thought it felt like a great race, and 67 just shows it. Great Britain, by the way, just last weekend, and was only 30, which was less than Canada, less than Spain, less than Miami, less than Australia, less than
And we still
Saudi.
called that a great race.
And people have said that was the best race of the season. So sometimes it's just about...
I think this is back in it now, though, isn't it? I reckon Austria's up there for me. I think that was class, genuinely.
Silverstone, 100%.
You got another Lewis podium. I don't really
well,
see
I think it was more the crowd at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Like the people that were there.
400,000 attendance over the weekend.
Just specifically 3 people that were there that really made it the best race of the season. But yeah, no, it was. We've been treated to a couple of very good races. When I'm looking at the list now, I can honestly say, didn't like Imola, didn't like Monaco. About it, really. I like all the rest. Been pretty good. Yeah. So I was figuring, as we're at the halfway point. Go on, Luke. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, actually, it feels like this year is kind of what we wanted for a very long time.
Yeah.
Where we're getting predictions wrong. Like if we started this last season, you're either really going to say Max or Lewis, right?
Yeah, and I think you would have got it right, other than like twice as well.
Yeah. Where now, if you said at any point previously who's going to win in Austria, Red Bull would be in the conversation, and then then we kind of had some mad battles, and
what I will say is very interesting. We've already mentioned the fact that Ocon was the last person to finish on the lead lap, but also Hamilton was 40 seconds behind second place.
Yeah,
that I know that obviously Sainz would have been very much in contention and probably would have beaten Max. That would have been a 1-2, and we would have been on some sort of record for the amount of 1-2s in the season, wouldn't we? But like that 40 seconds and then another 20 odd to George.
Of course, George was 20 seconds fucking behind.
He was having his own race again, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was business as usual
for Russell with a lonely Sunday drive.
So yeah, it's just been interesting to see, and you know where I was going to go is I feel we've covered Austria pretty well. But we are at a halfway point now. Obviously, at the end of the year, we will go back to our episodes that are on Invader Sports and look at our like pre-season review predictions. But now we've reached the halfway point. Is there any predictions for the rest of the season that you guys want to throw out there? Like, I think all of our world champion was still Max, right? Did anyone pick other than Max?
No, we did actually early doors as well.
I think we all picked Max.
Pre-season, we picked Max.
I can't change that, I'm afraid.
But I think we're going to see a Mercedes win a race.
We are, yeah. I like the way you talk, Luke. I really do. I'm liking the way you're saying that.
I'm looking at the calendar and wondering where. That's the one thing I will say is I'm wondering where.
I'm going to be rogue. I know we've not done predictions for France. Yeah. I reckon we could see it there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's, traditionally the Mercedes at the moment, obviously, they're getting better, but where their strong points come are the fast corners of the straights, right? Seems to just have some kind of really, like if you looked at how good the Merc was through Maggots and Beckett's compared to the Ferrari when Lewis was on the chase in Silverstone, we're looking at France with a very similar ilk track. If you think you go, you brake for turn 1, then you're flat out all the way through. I think 3 and 4 are fairly heavy braking. Then from there, the rest of the lap is, I don't think you go lower than 4th gear. So it could be a strong track for them. I think winning is a big ask because of the gap. But by the time we get towards the end of the season, there is every chance with like Saudi's new layout and stuff like that.
I'm following the trend of them getting better to the end of the season and Lewis recently becoming an honorary Brazilian citizen and saying that I want him to win Brazil.
I think as well with the performance he put on last year. I mean, why the fuck not, mate? You know what I mean?
I'm looking at them all thinking, all right, France, again, Luke, you're probably right. They're going to be competitive. I think we are talking about Lewis now, or before we were talking about George. I don't think George wins a race this season. I think if anyone does, it's Lewis. In my head, it's not France, it's not Hungary, it's not Belgium, it's not Netherlands. Italy, Singapore, Japan.
Italy. Italy, fast, very fast.
I think this is another year for Ferrari winning in Monza.
Yeah,
and I think it'll be really good to get back to it for them as well. As you know, pretty heavy Charles fan at the minute. I think the US again. It's the Houston one, isn't it? Austin,
yeah.
Street track. I don't think they do it there.
No.
Mexico, for me, that is very much a Red Bull track like it was last year. I think Brazil or Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi.
I think Abu Dhabi is actually not a bad shout.
No,
Brazil kind of, for me, because he's an honorary Brazilian citizen now, kind of screams at me a bit, you know.
And I'm intrigued as well, because if you think about in 2020, when Mercedes were up there with one of their most dominant seasons, Red Bull caught them up right at the end of the year, and Max won in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And then 2021 happened. And that 2020 Abu Dhabi win laid down a little marker. That was kind of like, by the way, boys,
we're coming.
We got you by the nutsack, and we're fucking not letting go. So
I love when you talk dirty to me.
that wasn't about F1. So there is every chance that maybe we're going to see a role reversal, and Mercedes go and win at Abu Dhabi, and they say, by the way, boys, we're still here. Who knows? We're a long way away. We're only halfway through. But I just want to know if you guys had any new predictions, any wildcard predictions. As I said, I think Alpine are going to come P4 in the championship.
I think, looking at it now, right?
Yeah.
We've had a couple of cheeky showings from Schumacher.
We have.
He's a proper racer, isn't he? He is.
Mate, he's above Yuki Tsunoda, mate. Carry on.
He's a proper. Also, AlphaTauri are dreadful, and they are probably not going to score a point again this season. They are awful. And if they don't score a point again this season, I'm terribly sorry, but they genuinely could go the rest of the season without scoring a point. They look dog. But what I will say is there's only 10 points in it at the minute, which I don't know. I reckon Schumacher could finish above Magnussen. 10 points at the minute. 10 points at the minute.
Done. I think that because Daniel Ricciardo, I think he's done. I think he's shit. I don't think Daniel Ricciardo gets 50 points this year.
He's on 17. We're halfway through the season. I don't think that's a terrible shout because the McLaren, by the way, doesn't seem to be getting better.
No.
They could be doing something. It could be one of those ones where, after the summer break or whatever, you know, the cards could fall in their favor a little bit again.
Yeah. And again, like a little devil's advocate, an example being the 2011 F season when we had 7, was it 2012? We had 7 different races and winners in the first 7 races that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago.
That's the one you called out.
After the summer break in Spa, Red Bull just went away, fucked everything up, like in a good way, and Seb won like 5 races in a row. They went on to stop the championship. So, it really is. It really, the summer break could be a game changer. It could, Mercedes could catch up. They could go further behind. Ferrari could now become, miles ahead. McLaren could catch up. There's a lot that can happen.
Do you know what I mean though with McLaren in that summer break? I think because obviously they were way better. Not just Danny, by the way. Danny and Lando were better after the summer break last year. I think we've had some pretty good performance from Alpine, but as you said, a lot of reliability issues where we actually haven't had any reliability issues from McLaren this year. Am I wrong?
Just bad pit stops occasionally, I think.
That's kind of where I'm leaning on maybe not backing your theory about them finishing above.
I think Lando, he had to change his engine in Canada, and that didn't help, did it? Because he changed to an older engine, worse engine. Apparently, it cost him 0.3 a lap in Canada. Engine.
But that's what I would say is that it seems like Alpine started quite strong and they might tail off. But obviously, Ocon's just come P5.
I don't know. Yeah, but this is the thing with McLaren is the Mercedes engine may not have been the fastest, but you
doesn't seem to have any reliability issues, does it? Really?
It seems to run to the end of the race.
So that's just again kind of maybe we do see them power through basically in what could be a bad season, and maybe they are doing what everyone else is doing and working to next season because this is the first season in these new regulations. No one knew what was going to happen anyway. And if last year, when they were P4 or P5 in the championship, you would say, oh, they're going to be fighting for P4 or P5 again, you wouldn't be surprised, would you? So like, maybe they are banking on next year being a bigger year. I hope they are. And Zach Brown has said that basically Danny needs to match Lando, which I don't think he's going to do.
No. He got points this weekend. He came P9, started P11.
Double points for McLaren.
Yeah, Lando P7.
Actually, wild. That's a really good weekend, isn't it? Double points.
But it is, yeah, that is. It's a really good weekend. But, they got overshadowed by Haas. And, Ocon still got a better result with an Alpine. So it's interesting. But yeah, is there any like wildcard predictions for the rest of the year that you got, Luke, before we start to hit our tail end of the pod?
None from me.
None? Okay, no worries. Cool. So I think we've been doing a segment.
I'm gonna do it. Latifi gets a point. Fuck it.
No.
I'll do a wild card. Say that isn't happening.
Yeah, Latifi will not score a point in his Formula One career.
He would be the only driver this season to not score a point. That's wild. Yeah. Has that ever been the case?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Only one driver.
Only one driver.
It would be the only driver to not score a point.
I mean, it has to have happened, but who's doing that research right now? Not me. It's like bloody 23 degrees. Can't be asked. We do have started a new segment, of course, called the Canadian Catastrophe of the Week, which we did just mention. Latifi's car became a Henry the Hoover to a piece of debris that made his car impossible to turn into turn 9, and he did indeed retire, keeping up the streak of Canadians being bad at racing cars.
I don't think we can blame that on him, to be fair.
It's
for the content.
It's for the content, and once again, there was a Canadian catastrophe.
Wait. We've obviously mentioned the signs incident, and we've alluded to the fact that Leclerc had an issue. Have we gone into detail about that issue yet?
Well, I've watched the notebook, and everyone refused to tell him what it was that was.
So he couldn't get his throttle back.
Yeah, he was using his foot.
He was literally pulling from under the throttle to try and pull it back. And if you watch the heads-up display, is that what it's called in racing?
It's something like
that. The display that shows the brake and the throttle. By Luke, the brake and the throttle, we legitimately could see that it wasn't going all the way to 0. And that was five laps from the end of the race, 6 laps from the end of the race.
It made it interesting. It was like, I think it was around the last 10. And then like the last,
and Max was catching
2,
a bit.
Well, he wasn't. And then the last 2, he really was. So whatever this issue was, it was just getting harder and harder to manage. And I believe Matteo Binotto came out and said that he couldn't even watch the last 3 laps. Apparently he didn't watch. And Ted kind of chased a load of Ferrari team members around and said, what was it in the car? What was it in the car? Charles said, I don't know. Matteo Binotto basically just ran away from him. So weird if they want to disclose that. I don't know if they do or not, but yeah, a bit of a strange one. But I think it was maybe a bit scarier for Charles because Sainz's car had just blown up. And had that not happened, whilst it's still a worry, he probably would have been a lot calmer about the whole situation. But seeing his teammate in a ball of fire probably wasn't the most settling sight.
Terrifying as well, wasn't it? Like,
yeah,
that was like he was rolling backwards and exploding.
And yeah, the stewards seem to be more concerned about the rolling car than the burning man. Now, I know these cars cost a lot, and I know they're probably fucking told to make sure the car remains pretty
stationary.
Yeah, try and keep the car as undamaged as possible. But I think we need to get the driver out there a little bit quicker next time, please, stewards.
He was like flagging them, wasn't he? Okay, yeah. Sorry. I sort of forgot that we didn't mention that early doors.
That's all right. Because we do have a couple of bits of news to go through. We have lost Luke for guest the driver, so
his laptop is overheated due to the heat we are having.
Yeah, and it is warm. It is warm. So if he's in a hot room,
he's got like a whole wall of windows. To be fair, So if he's been sort of retaining heat all day, but he did have to drop off earlier as well because he was a bit too hot. But yeah, his laptop's overheated and he's just died.
He's just gone. But we're near the back end. I was just going to drop a couple of bits of news that we don't need to talk about too much because we have got a mid-race week episode next week where we'll talk about it a bit more. But Porsche said pretty much guaranteed to be the name on the engine of the Red Bull powertrains. We've got Audi, who have not confirmed, but it looks like they're going to be taking over as the Sauber in Formula One. Of course, Audi and Porsche are essentially the same company anyway.
I was going to say, does this make them Alfa Romeo?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So Audi, Alfa, surely that can't. It's
no,
I think
Alfa Romeo. I think that name is maybe going again for a little while, which is a
going
shame.
Was it going to be Audi Sauber or Sauber Audi or something like that?
Yeah. Volkswagen Audi, I think, or something. So.
Oh, it's going to sound awful, but it's going to basically still be the Ferrari Junior.
It's
weird though because now it's the Ferrari engine, so it's an odd kind of.
We're 4
dynamic.
years away at the moment, and I imagine that that's going to get worked out. But this is just stuff that has been said today. And if you remember in Monaco, I believe Zach Brown was not there because he was at the IndyCar, right?
He was indeed,
and he was watching a racer, and we couldn't work out who he was going to watch because I couldn't remember the guy's name.
I found him, didn't I?
And then it was Colton Herta, right?
Oh, that wasn't the one I found.
Oh, it was Colton Herta. And the reason I know that is because he is set for a 2-day McLaren test at Portimao. So...
Interessante.
Yes. He will be behind the wheel of a 2021 spec McLaren in Portimao. But
so yes, this is just like
at the age of just 18, the IndyCar star will be getting a little
scene,
getting a little run out. So maybe someone to look out for the future. And obviously, we do know that Danny is under pressure. We know that Pierre Gasly is now staying. We haven't actually spoke about that since it got announced, and I think it did happen last week, but there was a lot going on.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice at the minute, really, does he? Unfortunately for him,
he's stuck. He's so stuck.
He's a sticky wicket.
Yeah, that is your news because these are all things that we can talk about a bit more next week. So, Joe, is there anything else from you about Formula One this week before we do it?
No, not about Formula One.
I think we've done a lot of Formula One today.
We have, yeah. I think we've thoroughly seen to it.
We've thoroughly done it. We've got dealt with. Yeah,
it's been dealt with.
It's been dealt with.
Shout out Runes.
Shout out Runes. Maybe next week we will maybe do a bit of some Silverstone stories as well. But anyway, it's time for
Guess the driver.
And I have picked a driver this week. There was obviously meant to be Joe and Luke going head to head, but once again, there is now no competition. It is just straight up. Joe's going to see if he can guess who it is.
I'm gonna walk it.
Joe, my driver was born on the 13th of September 1986, and that makes him 35.
Does
to his Wikipedia, and he started 75 races in Formula One.
Yes, sir.
That's your first line. It'll be mental if you got it.
Kevin Magnussen.
Off that, no. Kevin Magnussen's not 35, is he?
Is he not?
No.
How old is K-Mag?
28.
No, he's not in his 20s.
Wait, no. I can get this. 30.
He's 29. He's 29.
Fuck. Still,
I thought he was a little bit older, to be fair.
because he was 22 when he made his debut in 2014, right?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Maths makes that correct.
But I think we did that in a Guess the Driver before. I think. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's not.
Pass.
It's not whoever you just said, Kevin Magnussen. He got 125 career points. He got 1 podium. He got 1 fastest lap. And his last race came in 2014, Abu Dhabi.
35. Hasn't been in F1 for 8 years.
See, I feel like this would have been this was quite a good one to have two people, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll get through it.
35, retired at no, not even remotely. 35, finished at 27, 8 years ago. Well, let's keep it going. I think you said round 3 was going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think this should be it because I actually haven't got another line after this. So you've got to get it here. He raced for Toyota and Caterham, and his teammates included Timo Glock, Jarno Trulli, Sergio Perez, Marcus Ericsson. I have run out of lines, but I can quickly tell you when his first race was, if you want.
That's not going to help me, is it?
In my. Oh, hang on. Oh God. Oh God.
His mate, Marcus Ericsson, Timo Glock.
Yeah.
Race for Toyota.
Yeah.
2014. I mean, if you race for Toyota, like one of my only guesses would be off of that is Kobayashi.
You got it.
No way!
You got it. Yes,
Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Toyota. That's the only thing I know about him. Was the race for Toyota.
Let's go.
There's no way.
Yeah, it was
I couldn't even
Kobayashi.
say his first name. I just know it's Kobayashi.
Kamui
Kobayashi.
Yeah.
I knew he raced for Toyota. That's all I had there.
Yeah, well done. Good job. To be fair, that was a bit cheeky because former teammates included Timo Glock, who he only actually was teammates with for one race, by the way. So that was a bit cheeky from me. Perez, he was teammates with for 15 races. Ericsson, he was teammates with for 15 races. But yeah, the others were all much less. But yeah, you got it though. So fuck knows how.
I'm quite impressed with that because I didn't know anything about Kobayashi apart from the fact that he raced for Toyota.
It was like falling down the stairs but landing on your feet a little bit.
I was like, Toyota, I can name one Toyota driver, and that's
that
Kobayashi.
hasn't been named, and it's Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and yeah, good job. Okay, well, anything else? I think we've dealt with it pretty well.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy.
I'm happy.
That's a good pod.
That's a good pod.
If you don't think it's a good pod, don't tell us because we're very fragile.
Yeah, it's my ego is already. Yeah, I'm having some bad times at work. I don't really need that outside of work as well. But yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Stay safe. We're going to do obviously a midweek episode in between now and France to do our predictions and talk about some other stuff like the news.
Love Paul Ricard.
I like. I don't know about the man. Don't really know him, but the track seems.
It's a cool track. The one thing I don't like about the track is that there's 9 different tracks on the track, and you kind of can't actually tell what the hell's going on.
When you're playing on the game, it is a bit of an eyesore. But yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, and obviously if you're listening on Spotify, we didn't upload our last couple of episodes. I'm going to post them on YouTube.
Catch us there, and then
just catch up there if you want to. And now it's halfway through the season, so we'll try and get back on the consistency. It's a bit tough, 3 full-time working blokes that make absolutely no income from this to be able to be too consistent. But I think we have fun when we actually get going.
Yeah, I'm at net loss from this podcast.
Yeah, Joe's got a big loss. I'll be honest.
I'm already like 200 quid down.
Joe is down horrendous. It's so bad. So thanks for listening if you do, because I have spoken to a couple of people that actually really do listen to this legit, and that means a lot to us because, as Joe says, he's going bankrupt. His missus is going to leave him. This is all we've got, basically.
Yeah, big shout out to the listeners. Shout out Paul, my mate Paul. Love Paul.
House loves it.
House loves it.
So shout out House.
Shout out.
House, when you hear this, text me that you heard this. I really want to know. Yeah. Cool.
House.
This is weird to anyone that doesn't know House. All right. Love you all. Bye. Bye.
Catch ya.